and welcome back to my channel. So I'm excited today to be able to first be able to do another Christmas video, but I'm particularly excited about this one because it's a Stranger Things project. And I've been watching the series from the beginning. I watched the first part of season 5, very exciting. I'm looking forward to how it's going to end. And it got me thinking about, doing a project. I've been wanting to do a Stranger Things project for a while. So I'm going to be making 11's waffle stand because I thought that would be super cute. We're going to first start with the doll, actually transforming an already existing doll into 11. So this doll I found at Dollar Tree, and it's the Friends Forever Club doll series, and there's different dolls you can get. This one is Addison, which happened to be perfect because she had a blonde wig that attaches to her hair. So I could put the wig on or not. Actually, in this case, it's a hair, but it'll be a wig. But I am going to leave it to where in the first season, 11 is shaven. So I have already, there was like a hole in her head that I put Model Magic in, let that set, painted it brown. And then I tried to use flocking on her hair, but it didn't seem to be working that well. So now I'm going to do a final coat of brown on her hair. Just to go ahead and do a final coat on her hair. And this already has the flocking on it, so I thought whatever shows up in this final coat, it'll have at least some texture. And also this doll has blue eyes, and I'm going to be making them brown because the character has brown eyes. So yeah. So how is everyone doing? Hopefully it's going okay and well for you. I know the holidays can be a tough time for everyone. It seems to be absorbing pretty well. And I like the texture that it does show. So there we go. Just got to let that dry. In the meantime, I have her clothes already created patterns, and I got the clothes already pinned and ready to be cut out. And I happened to find some pink fabric. It's fuzzy, but I'm not going for like exact replica. It's more of the feel for 11 and her blue jacket. So I already have that already sized pinned down and to be ready to cut out. And these are her sleeves. I also pre-painted her socks on because she's got long white socks on. And these came from a previous Forever Doll Club shoes, which she had white tennis shoes. These were originally purple, which I painted white with white spray paint. So I'm going to see if I can change her eye color with Sharpie. I think that did a good job. So I'm able to make her eyes brown without having to use paint, which is nice because it would take a little bit longer to dry, but also I didn't want a very thick coat of brown on her irises. I just kind of wanted to get in there and see if it, oh yeah. So now she's got her brown eyes, no longer blue. So she's starting to come together. And since I'm already doing the Sharpie, I can go ahead and start doing her socks. And so she's got 3 stripes. She's got a green, a yellow, and then another green. So I'm just going to draw on her lines. And it might have helped. Sometimes I will make the lines, but I didn't here. So there's one. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the third one down, and then I'm going to get it in there where I like it. And then I will more than likely go back in and thicken the lines up, and then make them, a lot cleaner than what they're looking right now. But they are giving the effect that I want. And that's the most important. And it's okay to, if you make mistakes, things can be painted over. It's, it's not the end if you not getting straight, because these are not perfectly straight, but I can go in and I'll straighten them up. So this is the first side, just to get a feel. And I want to let that dry because her hair, top of her hair is still pretty wet. Let me put that over. And I've already got her sleeves cut out. I'm going to go ahead and cut out her pink dress. So, do you have a favorite scene from Stranger Things that you like? Or is it too hard? I would think it would be, for me, it's I don't know. I think the first season definitely holds a lot of nostalgia because I caught all the references, the inspiration that they pulled from. They definitely pulled from E.T. They definitely pulled from the movie Firestarter, which I've never even watched that movie, but they definitely pulled from that. I'm trying to think of, it's been a while since I've seen the first season, but that was definitely one of the references I saw that pulled out. I did in the second season. I love that they had Ghostbusters in there because I love Ghostbusters. The third season was very interesting because that was definitely 4th of July. Definitely had the one character in there that had the Terminator vibe, and then the Slurpee, which, are still very popular, but I thought that was interesting. There were so many interesting elements in the second one, and the fourth one was just, wow. There was so much going on in that one. So there's her dress. And then this is going to be her coat. And this coat, this fabric, I found both of these fabrics at the Dollar Tree, so that was nice. This one, the pink was actually fabric, but this one was actually a blue apron. And I picked it because the texture and it felt more like the texture of a jacket, if that makes sense. And again, I'm just going for the essence because I am not a clothes maker or anything like that. I'm just, using, things that I found and using my skill set to the best of my ability. I don't know if I'll ever get really good at sewing. I really admire people that are really good at that and could do sew on a very tiny level. So we'll take the pins out of there so I can see what it looks like. And it looks just like that. And she has like a white collar, and I had that I forgot to pull out, but that's okay. I will do like a little white collar here because it's a very like old-fashioned looking dress. I don't know if in the series it was supposed to be a Halloween costume or something, but yeah. And it's actually like an A-line dress, and it's like pleated. I'm not going to be adding any of that. I'm wanting to keep this dress really simple. And this will be her jacket. And this pattern I got from Cheryl. I'm going to link and show her YouTube channel because she creates many different doll patterns for free, which are very helpful. This one I made my own, but this one came from her website, so that was very helpful. And so this is going to be very easy to put her little jacket on. So I can already see it coming together. So I'm super excited. We're going to take a bit of a break to let 11's hair dry, and then I'm going to start cleaning up the lines on her socks, and then I will come back to glue on her dress, and because I'll be using fabric tack and her jacket. Okay, be back in a bit. All right, so we are back to finish up. I did a lot with 11's jacket. It ended up being a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be, especially when I was putting it inside out after using fabric tack to glue along and close it off. I used the trim all the way around and on the sleeves and at the bottom of the apron to make it look a little bit more cleaner. So there's 11's jacket. I also have put the white collar on with a white piece of felt. And then I just got this pink string to go around her waist area to make it look more like, I'm not sure if it's an A-line or empire looking dress. And then I have her sleeves. So what I want to do first to finish up is glue on her sleeves. I'm making everything permanent because when I do my dolls, I view them more as figurines, not something obviously that's going to be played with. So I'm okay with things being in a permanent state because I'm not going to be changing her clothes or anything. So this is the first sleeve, and these sleeves were already cut out. I went through and made sure these would measured out to make sure they would fit her arms. I didn't even think I have to let that dry. There's a lot of drying time, and I try to get ahead of things so that the video doesn't take long, but it's kind of hard to do that with every single little piece. You realize just how much time everything takes when it comes to drying. So I just wrap that around. And I'm just doing this with tacky glue, but you can definitely use fabric tack that works a lot faster. It's just goopier, so I go between both of the glues sometimes. So I'm going to let that dry. And I could easily do this without the sleeve, because it's going to be covered, but I'm trying to, show how you can make this whole dress, if you're not very good at like sewing or, sewing tiny things. I'm going to go ahead and do the other arm now so that can dry. So we have both arms. And you won't be able to see a lot of the, because these aren't the cutest little sleeves. I mean, they're okay, but obviously they'd be much better if they're attached to the dress in the proper way. But this is how I went about. And I've learned this technique, I think, from watching Ara make her doll clothes, and she has made them to where she'll have like 2 sleeves and then she puts the dress on over it, which I thought, wow, that would make it a lot easier. But I'm gluing them down to her arms because the dress, I guess it's kind of poofy, but it's more closer to the body. Not necessarily tight, but it's not super loose. So that's why I chose to glue them to the arm. And I'm going to let that set to see if it takes, because sometimes if you keep on messing with it, it won't glue down. So I'm going to put a little bit more glue, and sometimes by letting it set there, it'll take, and then you can reinforce the glue so that it'll stay more. So those are her sleeves, and I want to go ahead and let that dry while I move on to the waffles. And I pre-made these waffles with this mini waffle kit that I found at Five and Below. And when I saw this was the whole inspiration for the Stranger Things project. And inside is a little waffle maker in the shape of a heart. Obviously, they're using the Eggo waffles in the series. So I just put a small ball of Model Magic in the middle, pressed down, open it, and then took it out. So I made 2 of these because they're going to go on a sign that I'll show later. And then I made itty bitty ones as small as I can make it so that there's a whole plate of Eggo on a plate, because that's what she's selling is the waffles. And I already pre-mixed paint for the waffles, or in this case, the Eggo waffles. And this is just yellow, a little bit of orange, and a little bit of brown. Okay, so I got the first coat. I don't think that they're going to need a second coat, but if I do, I will do a second coat on these. So I got the Eggos going on, which were really fun to make. This is so, my hands are all messy, but that's okay. It was just so fun to make these. Like, I feel like I could have made so many. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of clay so you can see what it looks like. And this is Model Magic. So what I did is I just rolled it just so you can see. I probably could have showed this before, but I had already made them, and there's always dry time, and it's probably not the most interesting stuff to watch. So I just put it in the middle like this, close it, and then you got a waffle. And this one looks like a chocolate one. So that's fun. So now we're going to let things dry for a second round, and then we will be back. I will show you how 11 looks put together, and then we will start putting together the waffle stand, which I made some really fun parts for that, and I'm looking forward to sharing. Okay, so we are back after letting 11 dry, and I just wanted to show how her sleeve turned out. And I put her pink ribbon around to, cinch in the dress. And I got one arm in, and now I'm going to finish putting her jacket on. And there she is. I put on her tennis shoes, which I did do the stripes, which that's surprisingly. It's always interesting that little details take longer than you thought. So I did make the lines thicker on her socks, put her shoes on. I Mod Podged her hair, but she is all together. And I really surprising how well it turned out. I really think it looks like her, and she is ready to sell her waffles. So now we're going to move on to the waffle stand and how I made the signs and everything. So I found out that Stranger Things, of course, every time it comes out, they end up doing a deal with Eggos. And I went and bought this, which is this last season, 10 strawberry waffles, which I did try and they were fine. Nothing special, but I really bought it because I wanted this box. And so what I did is I took a picture of this box and then I printed it out on an 8x10 so that it would be smaller. Then I cut it down so that it could fit really nicely on 11's waffle stand. And on this side, I have pieces that I have from the box that had very cool nods to Stranger Things. Like this little piece was on the back that said upside down, right? Something like that. Then I'm going to glue on. Now this waffle stand was actually a box that I measured out to make sure that it would be the right height for this doll. It was actually a full box, and I just cut it down because I just felt it would be much easier than, I guess, building it from scratch, which you could easily do. But yeah, I got this cut out. Then I kind of drilled in some holes for the sticks so that I could put up the sign. And that's just right here. So I have 2 wooden skewers. That'll be like that. And then I will have the sign that'll be attached. So I didn't want this to look like this overdone waffle stand, just like they got pieces to put together. The only thing that's going to be obviously not realistic is this, but I felt like I really wanted to add the Eggo waffle box to this waffle stand. It just felt cool. It felt right. I really like that it's the cast for this last season. Also, here are the waffles, all painted and Mod Podge. I also have toppings it's like the menu for the waffle stand. And I want to show you what I had in my stash. I happen to have whipped cream can and a spoon. And the different candies, because I had 3 of these miniature clear bowls, which were perfect for putting in the little candies to put on the waffle, for the waffle extravaganza. There's an actual recipe online. I can link that below. But what made this really helpful is I had these little rainbow beads that look like confetti, or sprinkles for a cake. So for the first batch of candy, this is to mimic Reese's Pieces. So I picked out as many orange and yellow out of here, and then I got a bunch of these beads and painted them brown to mimic the chocolate of the Reese's Pieces. And then I put them in here, put gloss Mod Podge so it will stay, so it's not falling out. Then I did the exact same thing for the fruit candy tops, which these will represent the candy dots. And that took quite some time to pick out some very specific colors. And these are the chocolate chips. And I made this with the Model Magic. For brown Model Magic, I made like very, very thin, like worms, for lack of a better word, and then cut them very small to mimic chocolate chips. And I think, and then, oh yes, this is also for my stash. You got to have a plate for the waffles. And this one, I'm not sure if I'm going to put in, but I made this a while ago that I might put next to the waffle stand. And I made this, it's supposed to be like a strawberry pie. I made a mold of a small pie, strawberry pie. And when I was putting it together, I thought, oh my gosh, the mouth, not the mouth, but that's what it looked like. The strawberries looked like they could have been a Demogorgon. So then I ended up making a Demogorgon pie just for fun and thought, maybe I'll use it someday. So I put 4 of these blocks together, and I did make a little sign that says Demogorgon pie for mouth breathers only. And if you watch the first season, you'll know exactly what that's referencing. So anybody getting that pie, or if 11 says, here, have some of this pie, she doesn't like you. So anyway, I want to go ahead and put together her waffle stand. So I got everything glued in. Obviously, it's going to take time for the candies to dry because I added, the Mod Podge in there to dry in place. And this is 11's special sign that says 11's Waffles. And I attached those 2 waffles that I made. Then I'm going to put up like that once this dries. And then I will be putting all of the tasty treats on here, and 11 will be standing right behind there, all ready to sell her amazing Eggo waffle recipe. So thank you for joining me. I'm really excited that I was able to get in one last video before the next year. I have a lot of fun projects for the next year, and I hope you guys are doing well, that you have a happy holiday, however that may look, and I'll see you next year. Bye.